Hi, my name is Kelvin Vu. I serve as the Chief Medical Officer for Open Door Community Health Centers. 2021 is Open Door's 50th anniversary celebration. As part of the celebration, we want to focus on the people that make Open Door so great. Each podcast episode will highlight an Open Door staff. It is an opportunity for us to learn more about them, their backgrounds, why they moved to the North Coast, why they joined Open Door, their dreams and goals. Won't you join us in learning more about our staff? On today's podcast, we have a very, very special treat. We get to hear from a patient. It is my great pleasure to chat with someone who gets care from Open Door. Amber Madrone Anderson, welcome.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you, Dr. Vu.
Hi, Amber. Thanks for taking the time to share your perspective. It's so great to have you on.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
So, Amber, we always see, let's start with tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to the North Coast.
Yeah, well, I actually grew up here, and when I was 17, I moved away for college, and then I ended up spending most of my adult life down in the Greater Bay Area. About 6 years ago, my brother-in-law passed away by suicide, and in that moment, I decided that it was really important for me to be around family, and in a split-second decision, I decided to move back up here with my 3 boys so that my kids could grow up with my sister's kids and they could all be together. So my move back up to the North Coast was it was unexpected. It was really sudden. It was full of heartbreak, and it was also full of a lot of love. And I'm really grateful to be back up here and to be around family and to have my kids growing up with my sister's kids.
And I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, in that loss, right? You want to be close to your family, and so you move back with your kids. And so, tell me more about your family. How big is this family of yours?
Well, we have a very crazy, big blended family. Me and my husband, Brandon, together we have 7 children. Our family was born through adoption, birth, marriage, and we have kids that range from the age of 22 to 1. We have Sergio's 22, Ray is 19, Victor is 18. Then we have our middles, Gabby and Gavin, are 14 and 12. And we rounded out our family with 1-year-old twin boys, Oliver and Sebastian.
Yes, very, very big blended family there. And so, Amber, if you don't mind sharing with the listeners, then so how did we get to know each other?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we moved back here 6 years ago, I was actually a little bit nervous about moving back up here, given everything you hear about rural healthcare and the lack of resources in rural communities. And we came from an area where there was an abundance of care and resources, and we had some pretty complex medical issues and things that we were dealing with as a family. And so I was a little bit nervous to come back up here and find good medical care. As a child, I had been seen at North Country Clinic, but it had been many, many years. But my sister's kids were receiving care there. And so I decided that that's where I would come for care. And when I first it was Victor that I brought in first, I was really nervous because we had just moved back up here. We had been experiencing so much change, and we had a lot of needs. And 2 of my boys had really severe anxiety around doctors and doctor's office. So I was really nervous coming in, and I didn't know who our doctor was going to be. And so when you came into the room, you really took the time to ease my son's fear. What I remember most is how funny you were. And for me, really what I remember most is just how matter of fact you were. You were really matter of fact and to the point, which I appreciated so much. And for my son, you really took the time to engage with him and You were joking with him about his shoelace, and I saw him physically relax. And I don't know that I've ever actually told you that or told you how much that meant to me, but to see him physically relax because you were taking that time is something that I'll never forget and that I really appreciate.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I actually don't remember the shoelace uh, um, interaction. So that's good that as we're conversing this, that's bringing me, it's bringing back, walking me down down memory lane. And funny thing, so you have 7 kids.
Yes.
5 of those kids are boys. Well, that's on your side that I see.
Yes.
And so it's a, and I still remember it too, that I saw your middle one, right? At that time was your youngest one, right? Victor
Yes.
first, and then I saw Sergio, and then I saw Ray. And it's just so nice though to see them grow up, right? They were teenagers when
we first came up here. Victor was in 7th grade. Sergio was a sophomore. So you got us right in that transition period.
Yes, and now to see them like be men, like they're like men. So when I see them, I see, man, just to see what they were when they were teenagers to now, it's just that brings me a lot of joy too as a family physician, Amber, is to see my patients grow up, and I get to grow with them. I grow old, they get to grow up. So
I feel the same way.
yes. And now we have a new adventure, right? Because now you have a set of twin boys that
let me tell you how to stay young.
Yes.
When your youngest turns 18, you add twin newborns.
Well, that is one way to go. Because I think I told you I do have 2 young boys, and a lot of my gray hair has come from them in the pandemic. But I am so impressed of your energy whenever you bring them in, especially the 1-year-old set twins. Like, you have so much energy and so much love and so much patience for them that it's like, yeah, it keeps you young. I am exhausted.
I am exhausted too.
and I'm exhausted after I see you with them as well, because I'm like, it's great to see them in that 30 to 60 minutes, but you get that like 24 hours a day of pure joy and energy. And it's just so great to see them when they left the NICU, right? And then what, a year and a half, a year and like 16 months ago, 17 months ago now, right? And to now they're walking around, conversing with each other, a head full of hair. So it's great to see your Sebastian and Oliver in that stage.
Yeah, for me, it's really special that you got to see the older boys kind of in that transition period into adulthood. And now, when they were little, we moved around so much and their doctor switched a lot. And now that we've had you as their doctor for the last 6 years, and with the babies, we came in the day after were released from the NICU. And one of them Sebastian was in Santa Rosa. Oliver was here. We drove back up here, and the very next day we came in to see you. And so for me, it's really special that they will get to have the same doctor that their older brothers had, and that they will get to have the same doctor growing up. And like you said, for you to see them from newborn to now, it's just really special for me that when I walk into North Country Clinic, everybody knows us, everybody knows the boys, people remember them, people see how much they've grown, and it really feels like family, and that's important to me, and it's really special, I think, for them that they get to experience that.
And thank you for sharing that feedback too. And that's what one of our goals is, right? Because we live in such a small town. As you mentioned, that was one of your fears, was moving from the Bay Area, where you have access to care everywhere, and you're up here, rural medicine or rural town, oftentimes we don't have that much access. But we also want to make sure though that we don't get left behind as the healthcare system is improving, that our people who live in Humboldt and Del Norte counties, our residents and our patients, will receive the best care possible, whether they live in the Bay Area or they live in the North Coast. So thanks for always that feedback. I am curious, and it's also nice to hear that you used to be, when you were younger, was a patient within our system as well. So it's like it's a full cycle, right?
Full circle, absolutely. Yeah.
So now looking back at this, then what I'm curious to see, like you mentioned, your experience as a patient growing up, now being back here with your kids. If you can just share one, you've always shared one of those, like the shoelace incident. Is there another memory you wanna share with us, of your experience at Open Door?
Yeah. Well, I think, what is really important to me is my kids' comfort, as I mentioned. And, even to this day, the older boys, they see you less as they get older and they don't have as much stuff and reasons to come in. But every time we mention your name, if your name comes up, if the babies have gone to see you, the older boys, they always say, Dr. Vu, we love him. He's so funny. So throughout all those years from that first interaction, you've maintained that relationship with them. And that is so important to me. They're not scared to go to the doctor anymore. They are, trust you. They come to you when they need something. And that is so important to me. And I think you don't find that everywhere. And so I really value that. I also, I just love that Brenda has twin granddaughters. And so when we come in, she knows these babies. She's known them since, our first visit. She remembers so much about them. When they come in, she remembers their personality. She knows, that Sebastian's the shy one and Oliver's the outgoing one. And so for me, I just have so much trust in the care they're getting. And I know that you guys care about them as humans and individuals and people. And that's really important to me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm so glad you brought up our care team, right? Because this is just not my interaction with you in the exam room is just a glimpse of what all of our team members here, our staff at Open Door does, right? From the moment you check in, you receive a text, to when your twins get their shots and stuff. It's just not me, it's about other people. And then you mentioned Brenda. So for people who might not know, so Brenda is our medical assistant. So it's one of our very important care team members. So just like with Open Door, it's about everybody doing what we can to provide that experience that you mentioned, that trust, that you feel like you are not only just a patient, but you are a human being, an individual that we care about, and we're gonna make sure we give you the best care possible. So it's really cool to you and I have never had this conversation outside of it. It's usually about the boys and whatnot. So I really appreciate you taking the time just to share your experience, and just from one parent to another, from like one community member to another. And so I really appreciate that, Amber. Now, what I'm curious about,
and just, when you asked me if I would be open to talking, and I was sitting down and thinking about what I wanted to share, I realized, how important our care is and how much I value you as their doctor and their whole care team. And I realized just that when I come in, our conversations are about the kids and their growth, and we don't often take that opportunity to stop and really talk about how meaningful the relationships are. So I really appreciate this opportunity to stop and reflect and be able to have this conversation with you, that oftentimes when life gets busy and we're wrangling two 1-year-old twins, we don't stop and really have these conversations. So I appreciate this opportunity.
Well, Amber, what I'm curious about too is, as we're having this conversation, right? Like from a patient perspective, and also just from a parent, healthcare is changing. And so I'm always wanting the feedback from our patients is like how we can do better, not only at Open Door, but also as a health system, as a healthcare. And so any thoughts on as a consumer and as a patient on what Open Door and the healthcare system should be addressing or improving, or like continue doing? I'm curious to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think me personally, one of my biggest hopes for the future of our healthcare system is really addressing mental health and improving access, improving understanding, reducing stigma. I think this is an area that some progress has been made, but there's so much more progress that needs to be made. And this is something that's really close to my heart and my family. And I know that so many people in our community struggle with. And I just see so much opportunity for an increased growth and really increased accessibility in the mental health field. And that's, for me, that's my biggest hope for our future in our healthcare system.
You are so right on it. And it has been, the issue has been magnified, right? With the pandemic.
Yeah.
School got closed, lockdowns, and then our mental health just skyrocketed in terms of issues.
Yeah.
So and we all, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do too, is we're trying to have more behavioral health professionals available within our care, having integrated into the care team. So for example, if you bring, if one of our patients comes in and says, you know, I'm having some behavioral or mental concerns, that we will be able to provide that access, hopefully within that visit, and also follow up with that too. So you are correct with that. That's an area we want to try and improve on.
That's amazing.
So as we're wrapping up our conversation here, let's go back to what we always talk about, the boys, right? And you as a parent, and you as a mother, and you as an individual. What are you looking forward to personally and professionally in the next 5 to 10 years in all of those roles?
Yeah, well, you know, I just went back to work, and so I am really excited to be back in the adult world. And I actually do fund development at Child Advocates, so that is, you know, kind of near and dear to my heart, and I'm really excited about growing that professionally. And in terms of personally, it's just a really exciting time to kind of be parenting a second time around. And, you know, in the next 5 years, we're going to be doing kindergarten one more time, which is fun and exciting. And just watching the younger boys grow up, and really for me, seeing that interaction, the older kids interacting with the younger kids and being able to kind of see the world through their eyes. And for me to be able to watch that interaction is really special. And so I'm excited to see what the next 5 to 10 years brings in their relationship, and to just keep parenting.
That's I couldn't have said it better. Amber, this has been great. Well, you know, I don't know why we didn't do it sooner.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know why we shouldn't have, we could have had this conversation. Next time is just leave the boys at home and you and I can just have this conversation.
That's why, because those boys are a lot.
Yes, they tend to distract us when we're having adult conversation. But Amber, thank you so much for this great conversation. And to our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed our podcast, and we will see you next time for another entertaining and insightful chat with the people that make Open Door so great, our staff and our patients included. Thanks, Amber.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Wu.